listening to Mid-Morning in the Cities on Rewind 93.9 WYEC.
Rewind 93.9 WYEC, Mid-Morning in the Cities. I'm Sean Patrick, and I'm very excited to welcome our guest, actress Sela Ward, joining us. And Sela, thank you so much for this.
Oh, thanks for having me.
You're here to talk about Independence Day Resurgence, which is opening this weekend, expected to be one of the biggest movies of the summer. Talk about returning to this movie and returning to this group of actors and a director you worked with, obviously, on the first film.
Well, I wasn't in the first one, unfortunately, but I worked with Roland Emmerich before I did Day After Tomorrow with him. So it was it was such a big treat to work with these actors who I love so much, like Jeff Goldblum and Judd Hirsch, was so great on Taxi. It's just a great group of people and great fun.
Talk about a big budget movie like this. How is this different from like a smaller project? I mean, in terms of this, the scale of the production.
Well, that in a nutshell is the difference of a much bigger budget. So it's sort of like playing on the A-team all the way around when you're doing a big budget studio movie. Everything is bigger. Everything is better. They have more money to spend. So it's always a much more pleasurable experience.
Actress Sela Ward is our guest today on Mid-Morning in the Cities. We're talking about the movie Independence Day Resurgence, which opens in the Quad Cities this weekend, and we'll continue this conversation after this. Mid-Morning in the Cities, presented by Curves Davenport on Rewind 93.9.
You're listening to Mid-Morning in the Cities on Rewind 93.9 WYEC.
We're talking with actress Sela Ward today on Mid-Morning in the Cities. We're talking about Independence Day Resurgence, which is opening this weekend. You're playing the president in this movie. What type of preparation did you do for this role?
Well, unfortunately, we've never had a female president in our country, and I was looking at Hillary Clinton on the campaign trail and watching just what are the steps she would take, the physical mannerisms, the way she'd approach a podium, or the audience, the cadence of speaking. What are all of those little things that read, I am presidential material, right? So that was really the only female I had to emulate. So I really studied that. Andrea Merkel was interesting, but it's a different country and a different culture, and so it was very helpful to watch her on the campaign trail, Hillary Clinton.
Is worth mentioning that's interesting because obviously the character was the first lady in the first film, and now she's the president here. The parallels with Hillary Clinton's story, is that part of the kind of the subtext of the movie?
It might have been Roland's intention. I have no idea. Or a political statement on his part, and that I have no idea. You'd have to ask our famous director. But, I think we're long overdue for that. It was thrilling to be part of being able to put that in our consciousness as a culture. Margaret Thatcher, that years ago, and so many female leaders around the world. I think we are long overdue.
Actress Sela Ward is our guest today on Mid-Morning in the Cities. She's one of the stars of Independence Day Resurgence, opening this weekend in the Quad Cities. And we'll continue this conversation and wrap things up next. Mid-Morning in the Cities, presented by Curves Davenport on Rewind 93.9.
You're listening to Mid-Morning in the Cities on Rewind 93.9 WYEC.
We're talking with actress Sela Ward today on Mid-Morning in the Cities. The movie Independence Day Resurgence opens this weekend. What was your favorite part of making this movie?
It was really working with this cast because it's such a really talented cast and really lovely people. And the longer you work in this business, the more important it is to crawl in bed with people you really want to be with, because it's a long time, long hours, and life is too short. So these are I laughed the whole time. I mean, I could watch Jeff Goldblum or Judd Hirsch or Brent Spiner, for example, read a phone book and be entertained. So it was a really joyous experience.
you've had such a wonderful career from Sisters. My favorite performance of yours was on House. I still loved so much loved your arc on that show. In terms of your career now, you've got a new TV show coming up this fall with Nick Nolte, and you've also been a writer in your time.
Yeah, my writing gig is definitely short-lived. I'll leave that to much more adept writers than I. I found that that's one of the hardest things to do. It was fun and interesting, but very hard, and I don't know that I have the gift for that. But my real passion, other than acting, is painting, because that was my major in college. I'm a fine arts major, so that really speaks to my soul. So that's something I try to keep my hand in all the time.
How does when it comes to the acting and the painting and the kind of the personal expression? I mean, is it similar?
Slower?
Similar. Like, is there a similar?
Similar. Oh, very much so. In terms of being able to, it's about what is your passion for me, and anything that can occupy you for hours on end and not even realize that time has passed is something you should be doing in life, right? And if I'm working on a film project or a television project where I love the material and the character, I have the same experience I do when I'm painting in my studio, and hours pass and I'm totally 100% focused, immersed, and I have no concept of time. And that is pure joy as a human being. So if you are lucky enough to have material that you feel that way about, not all projects are like that, but that or the painting, which is easier for me to control, is just a delight.
Well, Sela Ward, I just so much thank you for being here today, and I'm looking forward to Independence Day Resurgence this weekend. Again, thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.
If you missed any part of this conversation with actress Sela Ward talking about the new movie Independence Day Resurgence opening this weekend in the Quad Cities, you can catch it online in a few moments in our Mid Morning in the Cities podcast at QuadCityDailyNews.com. QuadCityDailyNews.com is powered by local radio. Mid Morning in the Cities presented by Curbs Davenport on Rewind 93.9.